is Bob Beckel,
This is Cal Thomas, a conservative who is pro-life,
a liberal who once worked for Jimmy Carter,
who favors smaller government,
who believes in big government.
and in a town full of cheap shot artists, I've never heard Cal take a cheap shot.
But even when he's wrong, he's likable. And this is Common Ground.
And this is Common Ground.
Welcome to Common Ground, a video version of Bob Beckel's and my bi-weekly column in USA Today, in which we try to take controversial issues and come to some kind of agreement. We're in New York City this week, and what better place to observe Christmas and Hanukkah and the holidays than Rockefeller Center, the Radio City Music Hall with a Christmas spectacular, the Fifth Avenue shops with all the lights and animated puppets. Bob, it really puts you in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, what puts me in the Christmas spirit? It's the registration is 9-1 Democrat over Republican here, so that makes me very happy.
I come here for the sales. Bob comes here for the higher taxes.
Yeah.
But let's talk about in our annual gift-giving spirit here, what we would give each other, or more specifically, what we would give the kinds of people we've been talking about all year. Well, Tiger Woods is the number one person in the news these days, other than President Obama. Let's see now, what could I give Tiger Woods? Not a new set of golf clubs, he isn't going to be playing for a while, or golf balls. How about some advice? How about a week with Dr. Phil?
That's very good. Why don't we just jump on Tiger some more here? You know, I got my first gift. It's got to be right at the top of my list. It's a big stop sign. And I'm going to hand it to the Republicans in Congress. That's their gift, because they're stopping anything from getting through, or attempting to stop anything from getting through Congress. Not because they think it's good or bad policy, it's because they want to beat Barack Obama. You know, they blame Barack Obama for everything. If Santa Claus doesn't show up, kids, by the way, it's going to be because of Barack Obama. Just ask the Republicans. Republicans are, in my 30 years of Washington, I've never seen a more polarizing, negative group of people than the House and Senate Republicans.
Bob, I think I'm going to get for you some memory drugs, because when George Bush was president, both 43 and 41, when Ronald Reagan was president and Democrats ran the Congress, they were doing exactly the same thing. But I digress. Let's move on. And speaking of Harry Reid, I want to give the Senate Majority Leader a history book. He seems to have a very short memory, Bob. He equated Republican opposition to the health care bill and some of the other things the Democrats are trying to do to slavery. Now, let's see. As I recall, Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and Republicans were mostly behind the Civil Rights Act. Let's see. I think there were about 20 Democrats, including the former Ku Klux Klan leader Harry Byrd, who were opposed to all of that. Little history book might be good for Harry Reid.
You know, it's fun. Let me just make one fast comment, if I could, about the Bush 1 and Bush 2 and Reagan and Democrats. You know, it was the Democrats who voted with George Bush on his No Child Left Behind, on his tax cuts, on his war. Ronald Reagan got lots of votes out of Democrats. Barack Obama has gotten exactly 3 Republicans in the Senate on 1 vote and 1 Republican in the House. Now, that is obstructionism if there ever was one. But speaking about Harry Reid, I want to throw Nancy Pelosi in and go exactly the opposite. We are about to see Harry Truman's great wish that began 60 years ago, and that is health care for all Americans, that it is a right and not a privilege, and we're going to see health care reform get passed. It's been passed the House, and it will pass the Senate. I congratulate Nancy Pelosi in the House and Harry Reid, and I give them for their gifts big gold leadership trophies, because they deserve them both. It's not quite there yet, but we're going to get them.
I give them a free ticket to Cuba so they can see what nationalized health care really looks like. But look, let's talk about something that we really agree on. I saw a fabulous movie this Christmas season. It's called The Blind Side, starring Sandra Bullock. I think it is one of the most family-friendly, uplifting movies I have seen in a long time. Here's a family in Georgia that takes a poor man out of the ghetto where he is exposed to drugs and crime and all kinds of things, sees some natural talent in him, in his case football, and gives him a home in their own home and nurtures him to the point where he becomes a football star with the NFL and the Baltimore Ravens. If this isn't the story of compassion and what America is really all about, I don't know what it is. It is the best feel-good movie I've seen in a long time, and perfect for this season.
You know, I went to see that after you suggested it. I couldn't agree with you more. It's a wonderful story. Of course, we do know that Sandra Bullock is a Democrat, but now, but let me move on to some of my other gifts here. Speaking about tickets, you said you were going to give a ticket.
Yes.
I want to give a ticket, a one-way airplane ticket to Dick Cheney, back to Wyoming, when he will please shut up, go fishing and hunting. Well, maybe not hunting, but fishing. And I mean, this guy hangs around Washington like a bad cold, and all he does is sit there and he attacks the President of the United States. He said the President of the United States was aiding and abetting the enemy. That's calling the President of the United States a treason, guilty of treason. I mean, Dick, shut up, please.
Maybe
Merry Christmas.
Yes, well, maybe we could get him to have Al Gore go along too, who was doing the same thing after he left office. But again, I digress. Now, I know that Sarah Palin is one of your favorite
Yes.
politicians. So what would you want to give her for a holiday gift?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot. And I've decided on an atlas. They're not cheap, by the way. And I want her to have the atlas and read it before she goes out again so she understands that Afghanistan does not border Iraq, as she suggested. And just because she can see a few islands from Alaska that are owned by the Russians, that is not really the heart and soul of Russia. You don't become an expert on Russia by seeing a few islands. Sarah Palin is, I'll give her this. She's like Barnum and Bailey, man. She's a great promoter. And my own wish is she runs for President of the United States. Matter of fact, I'll be happy to give her a contribution because there'd be nothing better than no person we'd rather run against than Sarah Palin because we'll win 50 states.
Be careful what you wish for. They said about that. Some people said that about Hillary Clinton too, and she almost made it. Now she's Secretary of State. But look, let's finish up on this. We wrote this book, Common Ground, as well as our column, and we really thought that Obama meant it when he wanted to reach out to the other side, Republicans, conservatives, and that sort of thing. But I got to tell you, I've been going to Christmas parties at the White House for many, many years, even under Democratic administrations. I've been dumped from the list this year, Bob, so I want to give President Obama a coal in his sock.
You were dumped from the White House?
Dumped from the list the first year. Even Clinton, I made the first two.
I'm shocked by that.
Well,
I think it's just, I'll put in a protest for you when I'm down there. I want to give President Obama a gift too. He got the Nobel Peace Prize this year. He gave an absolutely magnificent speech, which you complimented him on.
I did.
I credit you with that.
Yep.
And I want to give him a beautiful case, glass front, to hold it in. And on the bottom it says, Barack Obama, Nobel Peace Prize winner, you deserve it. And all these people who said doesn't deserve it, look, the United States is seen finally around the world as getting back integrated with our allies. We're seen as a country that once again is standing up for liberty. And we're doing it without some diplomacy finally, some war, regrettably. But it wipes away the Bush-Cheney cowboy years, and I think that's wonderful. He deserves it, and he also deserves a good job for saving us from a depression. In fact, I think he's the greatest economic president since Franklin Roosevelt.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, I'm going to have to, in the Christmas spirit, Bob, just wish you and your family the most merriest of Christmas. And I've enjoyed these tete-a-tetes with you, not only on camera, but also in our column. And I hope we'll be doing it for many more years to come.
Well,
you're a great friend.
Back at you, Cal. And let me say that being up here in New York with you is a real privilege because, among other things, you don't feel nervous up here with all these Democrats, right? And all these liberals. That's good. See, it's good for you. So you're one of the few conservatives that I know that actually listens to liberals and actually wants to hear what they say. Now, you never come up with the right answer because you listen, then you still go back to. But again, you're such a good guy that it had to be because you were dropped on your head at birth, and that's why you're a right winger. But and you're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat, you're way out there. But you're my friend, and I'm proud of it.
Thank you, Bob.
And I wish you a very Merry Christmas and your family too. And so listen, we're going to be back in Washington next week or 2 weeks from now, and we'll be doing this on our set of Common Ground. But in the meantime, keep up with us on usatoday.com. That's what it is, .com, where you can get this video version of Common Ground.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year.
And all that, and a Happy New Year.